In history class, we spent 3 weeks studying the pioneers of the Western frontier, tales of alabaster skin dazzling underneath the fingertips of a god who wanted to carve heaven out of the rugged landscape of America, people white as clouds, men strong like gravity, but I wonder what happened to the pieces of granite that they blasted out of mountainsides. In history class, we spent 1 day learning about the other pioneers of the Western frontier, Californios, Chinese, women. 3 weeks would not have been enough time to learn everything that they did. They, pronoun, a group of people regarded collectively. They, pronoun, other. Today, the history book refers to the pioneers as they, people of the past, as if no one is still fighting to civilize America. Today, the history book refers to white people as us, as we. Today, the history book refers to Californios, Chinese, and women as they. When we learned about pioneers, we were taught that they often went without food. 200 years later, and they often go without food. The Mexicans, referred to as Mexicans more often than people who cannot find work because the government classifies them as illegal immigrants. In 1845, all of California is Mexican territory. Tell me, how can you be an immigrant if it was your land to begin with? When we learned about pioneers, there were 2 sentences in the entire textbook about Californian miners cutting the hair of Chinese immigrant workers. The Chinese Exclusion Act was a law, never a hate crime. 200 years later, and it's a joke, never a hate crime. Columbia student Chad Washington's assault and racial slurs towards an Asian American student is a misdemeanor. 49-year-old David Cow is choked and beaten to death by 2 New York teenagers. Second-degree murder. Fall 2000, 2 white men and 1 white woman in Spokane, Washington capture, torture, and rape 5 young Japanese women because they had fantasies that they would be submissive. None of these instances were reported as hate crimes. The Spokane Police Department explained that it was not a hate crime, that the group seemed instead infatuated with the race, as if being commoditized as an object for rape is as flattering as a cheap, hypersexualized geisha costume. Quote, "The Chinese lack inventiveness and initiative, but with proper instruction, their industrial adaptability is very great. They learn what they are shown with almost incredible facility and soon become adept." Henry K. Norton, 1924. Proper instruction is sex education in public schools, giving thousands of ways for women to avoid getting raped and not a single reason for men to not commit rape. Industrial adaptability is understanding that our society has created a Pan-Asian Halloween costume out of centuries of Eastern Asian culture that can be wiped away like kabuki makeup, as if the struggle to keep my history alive is nothing more than a fashion statement. They learn what they are shown with almost incredible facility and soon become adept. I have learned that I will always be they, that I will always be other, that on the first day of school when you hear someone say, "What did you do this summer?" they're speaking to the person behind you, because the only question that anyone needs to ask to feel like they know who you are is, "What kind of Asian are you?" I have become adept. And understanding that the color of my skin determines my worth, I am reminded of this every day. When I walk into history class and read 1 sentence about Asian culture, printed neatly on a white page.